It is my pleasure to have you join us on this program from the National Assembly. And in this package, we will be bringing you the details of the first plenary of the 9th House of Representatives. Thank you for joining us on the program. I am Kenneth Nanim.
Is there any member-elect that has not taken his oath that needs to take his oath today?
That I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God. Oath of member of the House of Representatives. I do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that as a member of the House of Representatives, I perform my functions honestly, to the best of my ability, faithfully, in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and the law and the rules of the House, and always in the interest of the sovereignty, integrity, solidarity, well-being and prosperity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That I will strive to preserve the fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy contained in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will abide by the Code of Conduct contained in the 5th Schedule to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I want to rely on Order 8, Rule 5, on personal explanation. Mr. Speaker, I'm privileged to have seen the vote and proceedings for today, and I observe that my name was omitted in the names of members present at the inaugural sitting. Right Honorable Speaker, I was here present, I took my oath of allegiance, and I have everything, but I don't know why my name is actually missing from the list of members present at votes and proceedings. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I wish you had raised this before we adopted the votes and proceedings of today, but the matter is very fundamental, and I'm not sure why your name was. It's probably a clerical error or oversight. Clerk, please, can we note his point of order and personal explanation so that the clerical error can be corrected and reflected in the next votes and proceedings. Thank you. Any member who has a petition to the House may present it to the House, please. Any petition?
The Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, while presiding at Thursday's plenary, bringing to the notice of the President the election of new presiding officers is in line with legislative rules, which is also the first day of legislative business as the House of Representatives, directed the clerk, Patrick Giwa, to advise the Secretary to the Government of the Federation.
I hereby order as follows: that a message be conveyed to the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria informing that body that the House had assembled on Tuesday, 11 June 2019, with a quorum formed, and that Honorable Akim Olufemi Gbajabiamila, representing Surulere 1 Federal Constituency of Lagos State, was elected the Speaker of the House of Representatives. That a message be conveyed to the Senate and the Federal Republic of Nigeria informing that body that the House had assembled on Tuesday, 11 June 2019, with a quorum formed, and that Honorable Ahmed Idris, representing Wase Federal Constituency of Plateau State, was elected the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. That the clerk to the National Assembly do notify the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that the House had assembled on Tuesday, 11, 2019, with a quorum formed, and that Honorable Akim Olufemi Gbajabiamila, representing Surulere 1 Federal Constituency of Lagos State, was elected the Speaker, House of Representatives. And 2, that the clerk to the National Assembly do notify the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that the House had assembled on Tuesday, 11 June 2019, with a quorum formed, and that Honorable Ahmed Idris, representing Wase Federal Constituency of Plateau State, was elected the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. And finally, Mr. Clerk, that the clerk to the National Assembly do advise the Secretary to the Government of the Federation to inform the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that the House had been properly constituted and ready to receive any messages he may wish to transmit. This is supposed to be a light sitting day before adjournment, but I believe there are 1 or 2 members that intimated me of their desire to raise 1 or 2 motions that they thought were urgent, that needed to be addressed urgently. Point of order. What page? Privileges. Okay, go ahead.
From Delta State. And I also on a letter mode said, I'm not aware that you have, discounted that fact that I'm man of God of this house. Mr. Speaker, I haven't said that coming on.
That was in the, I believe, the sixth assembly. A man of God must consistently earn the man of God. We are yet to see whether you earn it. But I know you very well, and I believe, in my own personal opinion, you are still a man of God.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, you had ruled under one of my colleagues' privileges that he raised. But when you keep quiet, the tendency is that it may be taken that all is well. I came in here this morning, and I'm here to see the votes and proceedings. And somebody said he could not find his name. If I keep quiet, it will look like I've also seen it, and my names are there. So I'm raising it to say, please, if the people are still having the votes and proceedings, let me have it so that I can also cross-check myself. And I'm sure most of our colleagues are also in the same line with my submission of this privilege. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Once the horse has left the barn, it becomes very difficult. So you have an opportunity to go through the votes and proceedings. Clerk, please let's have the votes and proceedings circulated immediately. I believe this is a function of a teething start. We don't have chairman business and rules, which is the responsibility of the business and rules. But we'll sort all this out before we leave here.
2 matters of urgent public importance and the need to assist victims of flood and other environmental challenges in some states of the Federation.
Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Benjamin Okezie Carlo, representing the good people of Bende Federal Constituency. I am from Abia State. I rise under Order 8, Rule 4, matters of urgent public importance, to present a motion on the need, the urgent need, to combat life and property threatening flood and erosion that has swept away houses and roads in communities like Mpa, Umimenyi, Ozitem, and Bende. Mr. Speaker.
Point of order.
Mr. Speaker, I'm coming under Rule 8, Order 2. The one on the matter he's raising, that the text, page 32, the text of the matter shall be submitted in writing to the Speaker prior to the sitting of the House. I don't know whether he has done that. Thank you.
Thank you. In the 9th Assembly, we're going to allow a little leeway for most of our new members. But second of all, let me say at the beginning, I did say I was notified by a couple of members. So that obligation has been fulfilled already. You're ruled out of order.
Thank you for saving me. As I was saying, I'm coming under Order 8, Rule 4. Matter.
Honorable Kalu, you have actually already given us a synopsis of what it's about. So it is now...
To seek the leave of the
Yes, it is now for the chair to put the question for members, whether they determine whether that is urgent enough for consideration. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. Honorable colleagues, honorable colleagues, honorable colleagues. Honorable colleagues, let me just come in here very quickly. Honorable colleagues. Clark. Honorable colleagues. First of all, I want to plead with honorable colleagues. This is our colleagues' first outing. And I think it's important that we work together to make our first outing a good outing. To put it simply, a good outing. Our colleague has moved a motion that affects his constituency. I don't know if you were listening carefully to the details. I mean, we haven't heard the details, but at least to the synopsis of what he said. It is, for me, the issues are very germane to his constituency. So I will crave your indulgence that we'll do this again. That's number one. Number two, in fact, the first one we did, from my recollection, we actually, because we were in a hurry, we didn't do, we're giving room for little leeway today. Nobody seconded his motion. So we're going to do it again. So I'm asking members to be understanding today. After today, we are adjourning for 2 weeks today. After today, we'll come out with the long daggers. But for today, let's have a good time today. So, is anybody here to second the motion raised by Honorable Ben Kalu? Yes. Honorable Ikruka.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I second this motion and I plead with members to...
Thank you, Honorable Nkuruka. The ayes have it. Honorable colleagues,
excuse me, I seek the leave of Order 8, Rule 4, Sub 3.
Honorable Kalu.
Matter to be heard immediately.
All infrastructural motions are sent to the committee. There is no need for debate. They're straightforward. Thank you. So motion passed. Honorable Kalu.
Mr. Speaker.
You still have to move the motion, not debate it. We will not debate it. Okay. We will move it. You have it written out.
Yes.
You have it written out.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, thank you once more. I stand to move the motion on urgent need to combat threatening environmental degradation in Mpa, Bende, Itumbuzo, Alai. The House knows that Bende local government area with landmass of about 601 kilometers square is the largest local government area in Abia State, and that the area, which is largely agrarian, produces in commercial scale for both the domestic and international markets. Aware that with the commencement of heavy rain, Bende, with a population of over 300,000, is seriously prone to and already severely affected by erosion and flood and other forms of environmental degradation. Disturbed that all parts of Bende Federal Constituency, comprising of 99 autonomous communities, have been seriously impacted by erosion, resulting to many roads in the area, including Umahia Bende Road, Bende Itumbuzo, Akwa Ibom State Border Road, having gully erosion depth of more than 150 feet and over 1 kilometer wide. Consigned that many roads have either been completely cut off or are almost being completely cut off, thereby rendering them impassable, and people are no longer able to carry on their normal daily social, economic, religious, and other activities, as well, giving rise to various forms of criminality in the area. Further disturbed that many have been rendered homeless in places in parts of Achi, Umuhu, Ezechi, Mpa, Bende Town, Umimenyi, Alai, Item, and other severe erosion sites. While so many houses are severely threatened by erosion, which will be catastrophic if there is no immediate response, and this will render more of my constituents homeless. Worried that during rainy seasons, like we have now, over 40% of both primary and secondary schools in the area are forced to close due to the impact of erosion, flood, while parents are also forced to withdraw their children and worse from most of the remaining schools. Deeply worried that with some gullies as deep as 150 feet, streams and rivers have been lost. Sources of water for rural dwellers and farmers have been lost. Several farmlands have been lost. Bridges collapsed. Several buildings, including homes, schools, churches, markets, have been destroyed. And there is a remarkable rise in criminality, thereby causing undue hardship to the people. Resolves to, 1, urge the Ecological Fund Office to, as a matter of urgency, intervene by assessing, awarding, and ensuring the complete execution of the erosion control and remediation project in severe erosion sites at Achi, Umuhezeji, Mpa, Bende Town, Umimenyi, Alai, Item, Itumbuzo, and other sites within the area. 2, urge the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA, to quickly commence the rehabilitation and maintenance of Akeze, Ibere, Ameke, Umahia Road, Umahia Bende Road, Bendi Tungus Akwa Ibom State Border Road, and other roads with special emphasis on erosion and flood control. And 3, urge the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to quickly ensure the supply of relief material to the affected areas. 4, call on the Niger Delta Development Commission, the Federal Ministry of Environment and other relevant ministries, departments and agencies to quickly react by deploying their various intervention mechanisms to arrest the situation, as well ameliorate the sufferings of the people of Bende. I so move.
So I will be directing amendment. Who has an amendment? Go ahead.
Kingsley Chinda, I represent Obiakpo Federal Constituency. I'm an Ikwere man from Rivers State. Mr. Speaker, I pray that we amend the prayer by adding 2 more communities that I know are seriously ravaged by flood and erosion, and Neocha Oshimini and Obiakpo Federal Constituency in Delta and River State. I so move.
Given that my community as well, especially Oko in Neocha Oshimini Federal Constituency, precisely right now people have moved out of their area.
Any other amendment? Any other amendment?
My amendment is to include Isukwato Umundochi erosion site to this particular motion. I so move.
Thank you. Those in favor of the amendment as moved, say aye.
Aye.
Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Any further amendments? Honorable Guna.
Amending the motion that was moved by my brother, Honorable Ben Carlo, I want this Honorable House to please include, Mr. Speaker, the Nkwamiri Wangele erosion site in Imo State. Honorable colleagues, if nothing is done about that erosion, in the next 2 years, a community will be totally wiped off. So I pray, Mr. Speaker, that we will amend that motion that was moved by Ben Carlo by including, like I said, Nkwamiri Wangele, Igoli erosion of Imo State. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Any second?
By my colleague, Honorable Osby, that one mile and one erosion site in Imo State be included in the motion. I so second.
There has to come a time when amend and put so many amendments, you almost run the risk of watering down the motion. Please, we almost run the risk of watering down the motion. Honorable Abante, point of order. What's your point of order?
Our laws, that is the order I'm giving you, quietly and listen. Mr. Speaker, you cannot use by prayers of motion to amend our laws. One of the prayers says, mandate to award. That will be extra budgetary provision. Therefore, we should delete the section that says, mandate certain committees to award social contract. They can say it in large. But rather to say, study the situations and revert back to the House. But if you allow these prayers to go on, we are now asking them to do extra budgetary award. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
An amendment, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, after Honorable Khadija's amendment, I think the best thing to do will be for us to write, and it will form part of our resolution. Rather than taking amendment after amendment after amendment, we may end up losing the essence of the motion, the substance of the motion, and it begins to be watered down. Honorable Khadija, please go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Waziri Bukar Appa Ibrahim, representing Damaturu, Tarmu, Abuja, Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Yobe State. I'm towing the same line as the comment you just made, Mr. Speaker, just to say that most communities we represent here are bedeviled by flood, and if we consistently sit here and count the amount of communities that are going through this devastating experience, we'll take the whole day. So I think my amendment would be to direct NEMA to address all the communities, issues of the communities involved in the flooding, and also write to the Ecological Fund as to erosion where flooding is concerned. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Those in favor of Honorable Khadija's amendment, please say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. There are no relevant committees or standing committees at this time. So what I will do is to direct the clerk to communicate to the Ministry of Environment, to FEMA, and I believe the SGF, who is in charge of the ecological funds, to communicate the resolution of this House to those and other relevant agencies. What's your point of order?
I've gone through the vote and proceedings, and I noticed there's an error in the way the name of the federal constituency was written. It's actually Abuja, Odual, and Ahoda East federal constituency, not in the reverse form in which it's written. So I'm sorry,
I'm finding it difficult. It's not very audible, but what's your point of order?
The point of order is that there's an error in the way...
No, there has to be a point of order that you refer to in the rule book.
Order 6.
What does it say? What page?
14. Page 14. Under privileges.
I think we might have passed that, but go ahead. We're giving room for a lot of things today.
Thank you. It's actually in the reverse form in which it's written. It's Abuja, Odual, Ahoda East federal constituency, not Ahoda East, Abuja, Odual federal constituency. So I want the speaker to draw attention to the what is that? They're typically typo errors. Thank you.
A request to deploy additional security personnel in parts of Oyo State to combat incessant attacks and kidnappings were adopted.
I am Dr. Honorable Ajibola Muraina. Mr. Speaker, I represent Barakwa Central, Barakwa North Federal Constituency. I am from Oyo State. Mr. Speaker, I most humbly want to urge this House to allow me to bring under Order 8 Rule 4 Sub Rule 1 as a matter of urgent public importance, incessant attacks and kidnappings on my constituents at Igboora, Idere, Ayete, Tafa, Igangan, Landate, and Irua, forming Barakwa Central, Barakwa North, and Barakwa East local governments of Oyo State. It's been very serious, and it's very urgent. Serially, they are attacking them almost on a daily basis, and it's very unbecoming. I urge, most humbly, please permit me to bring it under a matter of urgent public importance, pursuant to Order 8 to the force of Rule 1. I also pray, Mr. Speaker, to humbly pray you again to allow for suspension of Order 8, Rule 4, Sub Rule 3, to allow me to take the motion very briefly within 2 minutes. Thank you, my honorable colleagues, Mr. Speaker.
Those who feel this matter is urgent enough, please say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Muraino, your second leg, please.
Rule 4 Sub Rule 3 to enable me to take the motion immediately. I most humbly pray.
Muraino move his motion. Say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Muraino.
I want to seek the permission of the House to move in terms of the motion papers, which is already before the House, so that I will just
read one or two paragraphs and proceed to resolution so that I don't waste the time of the House. The House notes with apprehension the desertedly attacks and kidnappings carried out on Irua, Lanlate, Igandan, Tapa, Ayete, Igbora, and Idere, Ibarapa East, Ibarapa Central, and Ibarapa North local government areas of Oyo State by armed bandits and criminal elements notorious for kidnapping, rape, and extortion of huge sums of money from their victims. These bandits carried out their daylight robberies and kidnappings on the innocent people, mostly at various fuel stations, highways, and other farmlands. Mr. Speaker, I proceed straight to read our resolutions. The House resolves to urge the Inspector General of Police, in collaboration with other security agencies, to rigid the security architecture to ensure the security of lives and property, not only in Oyo State and in all these 3 local governments, but the entire country, and to deploy officers to security flashpoints to curb criminal activities. 2, the House also urged the National Emergency Agency to visit the affected communities and individuals and then provide them relief materials in order to compensate for their losses and ease their physical and psychological trauma. 3, to mandate the Committees on Police Affairs, Emergency and Disaster Preparedness, when constituted, to ensure compliance and report back to the House within 4 weeks. Mr. Speaker, I urge that in the absence of these committees, the federal government could be written through the Secretary of the federal government or the appropriate agencies to do what we are seeking for. Right Honorable Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I move in terms of the motion papers. I most humbly move. I thank you all.
Any seconder, please? Since we have no committees set up right now, and I'll direct the clerk to write to the Inspector General, communicate with the Inspector General of Police and all other relevant security agencies in accordance with this resolution, and to also write to NEMA, the agency, the relevant agency, in accordance with our resolution.
Amendment, please.
We have already hit the gavel. Amendment overtaken by the hitting of the gavel. Honorable colleagues, point of order. Who has a point of order? Honorable Oshoba.
Olumide Babatunde Oshoba, from representing Abuja North, Obafemi Ode, and other federal constituency. I represent MQ Abiola. I want to thank the President, and I want to thank Nigerians for recognizing MQ Abiola yesterday and confirming June 12 as Democracy Day. I'll be coming to move a motion for further recognition. I would want the country to please recognize MQ Abiola. So thank you so much.
Honorable Fulatake, you move that the House is up to executive session.
Klika Sama, Budi Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House do resolve into an executive committee. I so move.
As moved. Thank you.
Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The ayes have it to the committee of vote.
The House went into a closed-door session which lasted 3 hours, at the end of which the Speaker announced the creation of 3 ad hoc committees on media, welfare and selection.
Constituted ad hoc committees. Media. Honorable Khadija Bukar, Dr. Fulata Abubakar, Honorable Bamidele Salami, Honorable Luke Anahyok, Honorable Yusuf Gagdi, Honorable Linda Ikpeazu, Honorable Abdul Razak Namdas, Honorable Sada Soli Jibe, Honorable Francis Agbo, Honorable Umar Ubago, Professor Julius Iyonvere, Honorable Leke Abejide. The Select Committee, Ad hoc Committee from Kano State, Honorable Muhammad Ali, Honorable Tata Omar from Bauchi, Zamfara, Honorable Shinkafi, Taraba, Honorable Aminu Male, from Akwa Ibom, Honorable Nsiok Ekong, Anambra, Honorable Linda Ikpeazu, Cross River, Honorable Chris Give, Honorable Komso Longso for Plateau State, Honorable Lawal Wasiu, Ogun State, Honorable Yemi Adaramodu, Ekiti State, Honorable Lawal Idrisu from Kogi, FCT, Honorable Johanna, Jigawa, Honorable Fulata, Edo State, Honorable Oguma, Ondo State, Honorable Oluwatimileyin Adelegbe, from Kwara State, Honorable Ishmael, Honorable Suleiman Sumaila from Kaduna, Kebbi, Honorable Sonunu Bayelsa, Honorable Fred Agbedi, Katsina, Honorable Dalatu Hamza, from Lagos, Honorable Badru Ebonyi, Honorable Gariwe, Gombe, Honorable Victor Mela, from Rivers, Honorable Kingsley Chinda, Honorable Jafar Abubakar from Adamawa, Honorable Tobi Okechukwu, Enugu State, Honorable Idris Yerima from Yobe, from Sokoto, we have Honorable Ahmed Abdullahi, from Niger, Honorable Musa Abdullahi, Oyo State, Honorable Stanley Adedeji, Delta, Honorable Mutu Nicholas, Borno, Honorable Rahis Abdul Kadir, Osun State, Honorable Yunusa Amobi, Nasarawa, Honorable Abdul Karim Usman, Imo State, Honorable Bede Eke. My apologies, in the media committee, I left out the name of Honorable Engineer Yunus. And then we have one more committee, which is the Welfare Committee. I will go through the names, and to save time, I'll leave out the states. I believe you all know what state you're representing. For the Welfare Committee, we have Honorable Kabiru Al-Hassan, Honorable Ibrahim Makama, Honorable Umar Sani, Honorable David Abel, Honorable Henry Achibong, Honorable Chukuma Omeji, Honorable Lego Idagbo, Honorable Musa Bagos, Honorable Ononuga Adewumi Oriyomi, Honorable Omawumi Ogunlola, Honorable Abdullahi Halims, Honorable Hassan Usman, Honorable Abdullahi Ibrahim Dutse, Honorable Sejus Ogun, Honorable Omolafe Isaac Adedayo, Honorable Ahmed Abubakar, Honorable Amos Magaji, Honorable Bashir Isa Agungu, Honorable Priye, Honorable Yakub Danja, Honorable Raji, Honorable Anayo Edwin, Honorable Aishatu Duku, Honorable Dagogo, Honorable Gideon Goriki, Honorable Anani Ningi, Honorable Lawal Ali Shetima, Honorable Abubakar Usman Yobo, Honorable Jafaru Muhammad, Honorable Tolulokpe Shadikpe, Honorable Afe Anthony, Honorable Zainab Gimba, Honorable Abimbola Taufik, Honorable Ari Abdul Mumin, and Honorable Kingsley Uju.
The House adjourned sitting to 2nd July 2019. Chairman of the Ad hoc Committee on Media briefed the press on some resolutions reached as the executive session.
First of all, we had plenary, and after the plenary, we went into an executive session in which various things were discussed. And the first and foremost thing that was put to the table was the fact that we remain as one house, regardless of party affiliation. As you're well aware, Mr. Speaker came on the platform of the Joint Task Force. So that means it doesn't matter which party you are from, we are still one. We belong to one whole house. And there's not going to be any prejudices. There's not going to be leaning towards one party. We're going to work towards the unity and progress of our country as one. Together, we must do it. In brotherhood, we all stand. And secondly, we are going to close all platforms related to the campaign towards attaining the speakership position, and we're going to form one platform in which all members will be registered on that platform and can communicate through WhatsApp on that platform. So all platforms henceforth are shut, except the one that will be opened that will hold everybody as a member. Thank you. Secondly, the traditional victory party, which normally holds after elections have been conducted for Mr. Speaker, has been cancelled due to the fact that we have a lot of work to do. And in the 2 weeks within which we've been given our recess, we need to go and work. We are going to work. We're not going on holiday. New members are going to go and look for accommodation and come together and try and settle down in Abuja. And also the ones that have settled already will be involved in ad hoc committees like the Welfare Committee and the Selection Committee. And we, the Media Committee, will be available for any media questions or any communication between you and us and the public. And history was made today in which the ad hoc committees were formed instantaneously. They were not left till the following week or the week after for the ad hoc committees of welfare and other ad hoc committees to be formed. So we all went into groups according to our states and formed these ad hoc committees.
Of Nigeria. I didn't hear that. To be mindful, who has not been sworn in, may please come forward for the administration of oaths.
Mr. Speaker, point of order.
Without even asking you what your point of order is, you are overruled.
Mr. Speaker, point of order. Mr. Speaker, point of order.
I will not recognize you. You are not in your allocated seat.
Mr. Speaker.
The Nigerian Television Authority transmitting to you live proceedings from the Green Chamber, that's the House of Representatives, with the Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, presiding. I am Lami Ali. From what we have on the other paper, there are about 21 bills that are up for first reading, where there are 5 motions that are expectedly going to be presented by members. Over now to the Green Chambers for today's proceedings.
Oath of allegiance. Remember, you say after me. I do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God. Oath of member of the House of Representatives. I do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that as a member of the House of Representatives, I perform my function honestly. I will perform my functions honestly, to the best of my ability, faithfully, in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the law and rules of the House, and always in the interest of the sovereignty, integrity, solidarity, and well-being and prosperity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That I will strive to preserve the fundamental objectives of the directive principle of state policy in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will abide by the code of conduct contained in the 5th schedule to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God. So you sign the oath and then you come and see the Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, point of order.
Honorable colleagues, I'm going to make this point and I'm going to make it very clear. There are allocated seats. If you are not seated in your allocated seat, you will not be recognized. Number one. Number two, I want to make it again abundantly clear, honorable colleagues. In making it clear, I'm pleading with you. Do not test the resolve of this House. Do not. If you test the resolve of this House, you will have cause to regret. Thank you.
Point of order. Point of order.
Honorable Ben, what's your point of order, please? It's a matter of privilege that does not require debate or seconding, just a ruling. Honorable colleagues, I believe Honorable Ben Kalu has described comprehensively what happened yesterday and the breach of our collective, individual and collective privileges. And on that note, we will refer the matter and the gentleman who he specifically named to an ad hoc ethics committee, the membership of which will be named before the close of sitting today. Honorable Tajuddin Yusuf, what's your point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My dear colleagues, I come under Order 7, Rule 15, page. I am Honorable T.J. Yusuf. I represent the people of Kaba, Bunu, Ijumu Federal Constituency. I'm from Kogi State. Mr. Speaker, sir, my dear colleagues, page 26, sir, 7:15, 2 and 3, sir, specifically. The clerk shall keep minutes of proceedings of the House and of committees of the whole House, and shall circulate a copy of such minutes known as the votes and proceedings on the day following each sitting of the House or as soon as possible thereafter. 3, sir, the votes and proceedings shall record all decisions of the House and shall be signed by the Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is the votes and proceedings, sir. Yesterday, sir, you told us that you had a letter from some minority parties signed by about 90 persons. Mr. Speaker, it is not in the votes and proceedings, sir. I expect to find such in the votes and proceedings, Mr. Speaker. I so submit.
Your point is noted.
Point of order, sir. Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Chinda, do not try my resolve. You are not on your allocated seat, so you will not be heard today.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Who else is raising a point of order other than Honorable TJ that wants to be heard all day today? Honorable Magbila, what's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, my name is Mark Tese Gbila. I represent Gwe East, Gwe West Federal Constituency of Benue State. My point of order is also premised on Order 6, Rule 2, a matter of privilege, and also premised on the very same section of the Powers and Privileges Act that my colleague Honorable Kalu referred to, in Section 18, that refers to threats being made to any member of this legislative. Mr. Speaker, with all due respect, first and foremost, I consider my privilege breached by the comments you made, which appeared to contravene that section of the law that seemed like a threat you are making to very honorable members of this House whom you have been elected to.
Honorable Magbila, please look at your dictionary meaning of threat and the dictionary meaning of warning. They are two completely different things. You are ruled out of order.
Point of order.
And Honorable Kazari.
Mr. Speaker, point of order.
Come and use my own. Come and use my own.
Okay. Good. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I came for Order 8, Rule 5. Order 8, Rule 4, matters of urgent public importance. My name is Honorable Mohammed Kudaji Kazaure, member representing Kazaure, Roni, Wiwa, Enkwaji. Mr. Speaker, I am from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, I came under Order 8 to Rule 4, matters of urgent public importance.
We haven't reached that stage yet. We haven't reached that stage yet. We're about two steps away from urgent public importance. So just we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Mr. Speaker.
Honorable colleagues, we have at the gallery students of Solid Fundamentals Montessori Academy and Rahina Model Primary and Secondary School and students of Polymath International Academy. Please stand up for recognition.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Use this. We're moving on. We're not going to spend the whole day on points of order. We're moving on. Any member who has a petition to present to the House may please do so.
Speaker, point of order, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Taiwo Olukemi Oluga. I am from Osun State. I represent Irewole Ayedade Ishokun Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable colleagues, I have one of my constituents here that his appointment was terminated as far back as 1999 from Federal Safety Commission, and he seeks the leave of this honorable House for the intervention and restatement of his appointment back. If you permit me, sir, I quickly run through about 2 paragraphs that he puts down here. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. His name is Mr. Arirema Kofemi of number 32, New Site Road, Lugbe, Abuja, engagement number FCRHQ3, commenced work with the Federal Road Safety Commission on the 28th May 1996 after completing his commander basic course at NYC Orientation Camp, Enugu State, with grade C from 31st March to 4th May 1996 as a deputy route commander on salary grade level 10-4. Instead of being placed as a senior route commander based on his prior experience before joining FRSC, which he wrote letter titled Proper Placement, dated 26 June 1996 and addressed to the Federal Road Safety Commission, for which there was neither response nor action. Sorry. Mr. Speaker, sir, in his capacity as a sector motor vehicle administrator then in Rivers State, the sector commandant presented with over 100 licenses to stamp and stand for issuance of ghost drivers, which he declined the endorsement.
Honorable, just to guide you a little bit, since it's a petition, you've given it a summary in 2 sentences what it's about. Just lay the petition. That's all. We don't have to read the whole petition. That's for the work of the committee when it's constituted. Just a summary, which you have already done, so you can now lay the petition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. All he wants is your good office. Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Don't allow them to intimidate you. Next one.
Any other petition?
No.
Mr. Speaker, point of order.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, point of order.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable, what's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, I came under. My name is Honorable Abubakar Yakusada. I represent Kenchia Kusada Ingawa Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, Honorable colleagues, I am from Katsina State. I came under Order 8, Rule 4, matter of urgent public importance.
What's the matter of urgent public importance?
Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, the flood disaster in Kenchia, Kusada, Ingawa Federal Constituency of Katsina State.
What is it about?
Flood disaster in Kenchia, Kusada, Ingawa Federal Constituency of Katsina State.
Ordinarily, I would want something like that to come under notice because there's nothing I don't consider as urgent enough to be taken today, but we'll go ahead with some laxity. Go ahead and move your point of order, please.
Thank you. I should go ahead.
But you told us what it's about, right?
I move, Mr. Speaker, to suspend the rules and take it.
Is there anybody to second that? Honorable Debumi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, Odebo Mishevin is my name. I represent the good people of Surulere Regular Federal Constituency. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my colleagues from Castina. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable, are you seeking that we take that matter today?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Move for the suspension of the rules.
I hereby move for the suspension of the relevant such rules to take it today.
Any seconder? Honorable Adejare.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I still remain Honorable Dr. Samuel Abatunde Adejare. I represent the good people of Agege, Lagos State. I rise to second the motion as moved by my colleague. I so second.
Those in support that we take this motion now, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable, please move your motion.
Motion. Flood disaster in Kenchia, Kusada, Ingawa Federal Constituency of Katsina State. Note that the torrential rainfall of 17th of June 2019 flooded the following areas in my constituency. Kusada town, where more than 10,000 houses were destroyed and the people rendered homeless in Kenchia and several other places in Kenchia local government area. Also destroyed by the raining storm are houses in Endoma town of Ingawa local government and the other surrounding villages in Ingawa and the Ingawa town itself. Aware that flooding through a natural disaster was able to cause much havoc on the affected areas or towns. Concerned that most of the affected areas are the largest rural urban habitat of my constituency, where hundreds of thousands of people residing in these areas. What is that, as a result of this flooding, some schools, clinics, markets, and farmlands where the people earn their means of livelihood were submerged. Further, what is that, as a result of this flooding, the people's houses are washed away and most of them rendered homeless without a roof on their heads and no food to eat. Also concerned that over 10,000 houses across the 3 local government areas of my constituency cannot be put to use by the owners due to this flooding. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, I urge the House to ask the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to make an assessment, impact assessment with a view of sending the immediate needed relief materials to the victims in these areas affected in the form of mattresses, pillows, blankets, roofing sheets, cement, various food items, etc. Mr. Speaker, the second prayer is that the House should send a high-powered delegation to commiserate with the victims in the areas affected by the flood. I so move.
Is there a seconder? Okay, engineer.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Engineer Sanu Bala and I represent Kunchi Sangya Federal Constituency from Kano State. I rise to second the motion as heavily moved by my constituent neighbor, Honorable Kusada. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. It's an infrastructural disaster motion, and I don't think there's any need for debate, so we'll just refer that immediately to the NEMA, I believe, committee once it's constituted.
Mr. Speaker, point of order.
Honorable Owolabi.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable J.A. Owolabi, representing Ibakojayi, Federal Constituency, Lagos. I want to bring a motion on the matter of urgent public importance, starting under 8, Rule 4. And I want to also suspend Order 8, Rule 4, Subsection 3, for me to be able to bring the issue to the floor today, sir. I so move, sir.
What is this about? Just as a summary, 2 sentences.
It is a lot of lives were lost. Sir, it's on a matter of flood and erosion that has claimed a lot of lives in my constituency, sir.
Honorable colleagues, we'll take this one as well, but there's going to be flood. Well, hopefully that will be resolved in many states and constituencies. But if we keep bringing matters of flood on the floor as urgent public importance, we abuse the meaning of urgent public importance. Those matters can be brought on notice, and they will be taken within the week or the following week, because there's nothing urgent and public. I mean, they're disastrous, but they can be put on notice. So we'll take this as well, because otherwise every state, every constituency will have flood in the nearest future, and we cannot keep taking that as motions of urgent public importance. So we will allow the laxity. We're still on in an incubation period. So you've moved you've summarized any seconder? Seconder.
Speaker, point of order.
Who's raising a point of order?
Point of order. I reserve right, Mr. Speaker. Point of order.
Who's raising a point of order?
The only way I can speak. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Uchechukwu Namobi, and I represent the good people of Ahodo West and Oba Ebema Ndoni Federal Constituency. I'm from River State. Mr. Speaker, I come under Order 6, under privilege. I would quote you, Mr. Speaker. My party's resolve is being tested on the floor of this House.
That matter has been concluded.
Speaker, point of order.
Any seconder to the motion? Honorable Shoyinka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Tunji Shoyinka, representing the very good people of Surulere 2 Federal Constituency of Lagos State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my colleague. I so second.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Move for suspension of the rules.
I have moved the motion for suspension. It has been taken.
Relevant.
Sir, I want to move a motion of suspension on the issue of standing.
Any seconder, please. Honorable Munir.
Consultation from members. How do I go about it when I join the floor of the House? It shouldn't be a shame.
Honorable colleagues, my name is Munir Babat Anagundi. I represent Fumbo Federal Constituency of Kano State. Mr. Speaker, I stand to second the second leg of the motion that the relevant rule be suspended for him to take it. Thank you.
Those in favor that we suspend our rules to take this matter now say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable, in a very brief, 2 minutes, just move your motion so we can move on.
Sir, note, sir, that Lagos State is a coastal state with a protracted history of environmental challenges, partly due to excessive rainfall, resulting in substantial flooding, which has skyrocketed in recent years. One of the areas most ravaged by these menace is Ipakoja, Federal Constituency, sir. Aware that disaster which has been ravaging our various communities over time is rising by the recent heavy downpour and the scourge of erosion, which has once again resurfaced, particularly during the recent rainfalls that have caused untold hardship and damage to lives and properties within the area. Also aware, sir, that the communities affected by these hazards are numerous, owing to the equinous terrain and topographical configuration of the areas, as well as the size of the people, especially the vulnerable ones who have been adversely affected. Cognizant, sir, that the onus is on government to ensure adequate protection of lives and properties of these citizens. Unfortunately, the local and state government are incapable of tackling the gigantic problems in view of the magnitude and the extent of damage occasioned. Although Lagos State and Ipakoja, my constituency, has made considerable effort at providing palliative effort as part of the first call. These measures are grossly inadequate for the same reasons cited above. Worried, sir, that the disruptive flood incidents poses a great danger to the lives and properties of our people as it has adversely affected both public and private critical infrastructures, including homes, schools, government properties, as well as installations. Moreover, some children were reportedly washed away by flood that resulted from heavy downpour. Also worried that the most recent flood disaster has constantly devastated the people of Osukeye, Ajakaye, Idiapo, Wambi, in Ifakojaye, local government area. This
Nigerian Television Authority bringing to you live proceedings from the House of Representatives for today, Thursday. So far, 2 matters of urgent public importance have been taken. We're on the second one, both of which border on flood, disaster, and erosion in Katsina and Lagos states. And this is where we come to the end of today's live transmission. We thank you for joining us. I'm Lami Ali. We invite you to stay tuned as we take you back to our studios.
Dab. Yes. One day as I did dab, they go. Now I see my neighbor on top.